Morning, fellow zombies. We are not alive. We are not awake. We are not Devo either. It's 5:55 in the morning, West Coast time for Sunday, the 2nd of June, 2024. Yesterday, I saw some stuff happening on the news regarding a certain company trying to get their ship up in the air, and apparently they've got more issues with it. There are certain critics out there who keep thinking that Boeing is not going to do it, and since SpaceX has got it, they're laughing their asses off at this point. But I gotta ask SpaceX and Musk, how long did it take to get Falcon and Dragon up? How many times? How many times you guys had to get missions scrubbed because you still had to go for it? And you're still running the same situation with Starline, with Starship. So ease off on the other guys, will you? Shit. So today NASA is going to be going over the data with us as soon as they get the data correlated and understood and then paperwork typed out and to go to the press conference and everything else is getting ready for this thing. The astronauts are still ready and it's part of doing business. I think one of the astronauts was talking to the press about it, um, telling us before he got into STS into space, they had to go through scrubs. It took him a while to get up in space, but he was still part of the program and he still earned his stripes. He earned his pins on that one. So it takes a while for a commercial or government to make sure that everything is running perfect so they don't have any other accidents. I know NASA wants to be the redundant company, or actually a redundant agency, but they had to be. Looking at the track record of what NASA grew up out of and the experiences they had to learn the hard way. So, yeah, they have to have abundance of caution because we are talking going into a hostile environment using hostile volatile liquids to get you up there. And they have to make sure that everything's working properly. Every valve out there is working properly. And they do have sensors on everything. They got sensors on everything just to make sure that the ship is not going to crack or spring a leak. They have to make sure. They're not taking any chances when it comes down for space. I mean, we could have science fiction shows of showing how space is, and we can fly through the damn thing. We have science fiction. Uh, we got tools to fool people left and right with our special effects. But space is a hostile environment. It is a vacuumless void that allows no room for error. Zip. You got a crack in a windshield, say goodbye to your life. It's that simple. You got a tear in the suit, get the damn thing repaired fast, otherwise, you're dead. You're dead. They train in underwater because it's the closest thing they can get to weightlessness, but also to a hostile environment. If they happen to get any moisture coming into that suit or the spacecraft, they want to make sure that everything is dry in the inside and not having any pressure leaks. And they have to make sure of this because out in deep space, or actually even a low Earth orbit, where the atmosphere is non-existent, it's a hostile environment. Astronauts have died in that environment. NASA's not taking any chances. Not even with Boeing's not even taking any chances. So they have to make sure that their particular mission is going to go off with a hinge. You know, every time they had the Mercury, they always had this escape rocket on top of it. Gemini had it, also Apollo had it. Skylab astronauts had it. They had to make sure that there was an escape system on there to lift the capsule up like crazy. I don't know what they've got for the Starliner. I hadn't seen it. But they're so confident and so cocky on this one. that the escape rocket is not existent. So I don't know what the escape system is going to be on this one, but they are going to go through the atmosphere in this one. So I'm hoping this week we'll be able to see it. I mean, yesterday I was ready for it. Cameras watching the computer screen. I got this camera watching me as to my reactions. I'd gotten old Snoopy from his post up here down with me as good luck. Maybe I screwed people over with that. Maybe I did. So now I got to think. Now what am I going to do? I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do at this point, except wait. Wait like everybody else for the next 2 or 3 days to see what they found out. If they're still going through it, they're going to be going through a slew of questions from the reporters down there. Why the sudden abort, and was it necessary? Safety first. People can laugh at it, but if it keeps the astronauts alive, I'm not going to argue with it. I'd seen already too much tragedy on NASA's end, let alone Russia. I have yet to see the Chinese lose anybody yet, but they haven't been in a game long enough. Russia had, but sometimes they don't take redundancy to heart until they start losing more and more of their astronauts or the pilots. It used to be a political game trying to get to the moon. Now it's just we're trying to build up endurance to the eventuality of having people on the moon, let alone on Mars. And that's going to happen well beyond my lifetime. But if we get a moon colony before I pass away, good. I want to see that. If we actually have space stations floating around without being jammed up with the satellites we've got out there, it'd be even better. At one time in my life, in my youth, I wanted to be part of the astronaut elite, or just Joe Schmo trying to go up there. Not happening in the cards. Oh, we can do scenarios. We can do special effects crap and put me in like in an astronaut suit, green screen something, and have something overlaid and say, "Look, I've been into space. Photoshopped myself." I tell you, you're out there, you don't know. That's why Bezos was trying to do his Blue Origin. He was trying to give people a little taste of what weightlessness was all about. For me, if I could stand going back into a swimming pool again, maybe. In my youth, I could do it. As a kid to an adult, to a young adult, I could do it, no problem. As an old fart, forget it. I'm earthbound. That's all right. That's all right. So, I got to stress over that one. No, we just have to deal with the politics and people screaming and yelling at each other and wanting things their way. I hate to say it, but I don't want it their way. Yeah. That being said,